welcome to Elements of Ayurveda, Empowering Wisdom of Life. I'm your host, Colette, and in this podcast, I hope to empower you to take charge of your own health by sharing the holistic teachings of Ayurveda, the ancient healing tradition from India. We will also discuss topics like health and wellness, nutrition, yoga, fitness, meditation, breath work, and much more, as well as interviewing lots of inspiring people along the way. My humble wish is to help you to connect to your true nature, to Mother Nature, and to each other. If you like the content, be sure to subscribe to the show, and the new episodes will automatically download for you to enjoy. This show is for you, and so I would really appreciate your feedback. You can also do a ratings and review in the iTunes section. Thanks in advance, and now here's the show. Hi everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Elements of Ayurveda, Empowering Wisdom of Life. I'm Colette, and I'm very excited that I'm finally getting to do this podcast. I've been thinking about it for a long time, and now is the time to share this wonderful information that I've learned on my journey, teachings from Ayurveda, teachings from health and fitness, yoga, meditation, breath work, and much more. I want to empower you to take charge of your own health. I want you to give you the confidence to make decisions for yourself rather than following the latest fads and trends. And I came to Ayurveda out of frustration. I was working in the health and fitness industry, and I was frustrated with my own health, even though I thought I was doing everything right. I will talk about my journey in another episode, but today I want the focus to be on Ayurveda. Ayurveda is the wisdom of life, and these teachings date back over 5,000 years. And in today's episode, I want to focus on this introduction to Ayurveda, especially for those of you who are not familiar. And it's a great refresher for those of you who have heard of it. And we're just going to delve a little bit deeper into the philosophy and the history of it today. So let's get started. What is Ayurveda? Ayurveda is a Sanskrit word, and actually it's two words. Ayur meaning life and Veda meaning science or wisdom. So it's the wisdom of life. And it's a vast science or wisdom, if you will. It goes into every aspect of our life. The ancient seers would go out into nature and meditate and watch nature and take this information and then put it into the teachings of Ayurveda. Like I said, it dates back over 5,000 years in written documentation, but actually it probably goes back even further than that because it was an oral tradition before that. It was passed down from generation to generation in India through poem. So definitely 5,000 years in existence in written documentation. But this teaching, like I said, it's a vast teaching, and it's a holistic approach to health, taking into account the mind, the body, and the soul. Ayurveda teaches us the importance of understanding our own true nature, our own individual constitution, both physical and mental, but it also emphasizes the importance of living in tune with the natural rhythms of nature. And this is what's more relevant now than ever. In our modern world, we are moving away from nature. In fact, we are harming our planet at the moment, as many of you are aware, and we are a part of nature. We are not separated from nature. We're made up of the same elements of nature, which I'll go into in a little while. But nature is there to protect us, and our relationship with nature is of paramount importance. And due to the fact that we're disconnecting ourselves by driving in cars and working in offices and living in houses, sometimes we may not even see or be out in nature during the day because we're in our modern society commuting and working, and we may not spend any time in nature. But because we are so disconnected, we're losing our balance, our rhythm, our protection, and our harmony with nature. And our connection to Mother Nature is extremely important for our health. It's an essential part of our connection to ourselves and also connection to the rhythms of life. We need to respect the rhythms of nature. And like I said, we've got so far away from that. And this is what I love about Ayurveda. It's all about going back to the basics. Today, we are so overwhelmed with information. And I've been in the health and fitness industry for well over a decade. And I'm overwhelmed by the latest fads and trends and diets and special sports drinks and special foods. There's so much for us to decipher. And this is why I wanted to do this podcast, because I believe the teachings of Ayurveda bring it back down to simplistic, logical teachings. First of all, you have to understand that you're an individual, that no one diet, one exercise program, one eating regime is going to suit everybody. The first thing we need to do is to understand our unique constitution, our requirements, and then from there, with that knowledge, we can make our own decisions rather than being marketed to by a corporation, but to make our own decisions for our health and well-being. What suits us, what suits our body type, what suits our mental quality, etc. So again, it's all about connection. Now, let me go into a little bit of the history of Ayurveda. Like I said, it dates back over 5,000 years. There's an emphasis on prevention. And again, Ayurveda wants us to understand our true nature first, our unique physical and mental constitution, so that when there are any ailments or problems within our body, and when our body gives us those subtle signals, whether it's heartburn, acid reflux, constipation, diarrhea, bloating, excessive gas, headaches, whatever the ailment is, we straight away know, my body's out of balance. And through the teachings of Ayurveda, we'll know what is out of balance and how to treat it naturally with lifestyle, herbs, spices, food. Because we can catch it so early, we will be so tuned into our body, we'll know exactly what we need to do to bring our body back into balance. And it's when our body is out of balance that this causes the problems in our body. It causes illness, and if we don't listen to those first subtle signals our body gives us, the body will cause it to manifest, these problems to manifest into something bigger. So we do pay attention. And you often hear those stories where people are just literally stopped in their tracks because they're either burnt out or they ignored all the signals along the way, and then your body is like, okay, I've got to literally hit you with a 2x4 to make you to stop and pay attention and bring yourself back into balance. So our body is very smart. Mother Nature is very smart, and we need to respect her and listen to her and really tune in. And that's the key, is about tuning in so that you are empowered and you can manage your own health. Now, Ayurveda is a sister science of yoga. And while yoga is the physical form of getting into meditation and stillness, Ayurveda is more into the healing science. But it's not just a healthcare system. It's also a complete approach to living your life in alignment, to tune into nature, to listen to the natural laws that govern the universe and that also govern us. Now, Ayurveda is founded on the same elements that compose the universe, also compose our body. And the way to complete health or optimal health is simple realignment with the natural rhythms. And it is simple and it is logical. And that's why I love it. There's not a whole lot of products that you have to buy or supplements. It's just very simple, basic information that whenever I meet with a client, they have those aha moments, like it makes absolute sense to them. We already have this knowing within us. We already have this gut instinct, if you will, but it's just a matter of getting that confidence back again to tune in, because we're so used to all this barrage of information coming at us that we need to go back to basics, go back to simplicity and tune in to our body. and live in accordance with nature. Nature gives us what we need to heal us. It gives us the right foods in season to keep us in balance. And it's very simplistic, really. A lot of times, I think in our society, we think that things have to be challenging. They have to be hard. The harder, the better. No pain, no gain. It has to be very disciplined, and it actually doesn't. I think a more simple approach to life, a more flexible approach to life is far more healthy. And that comes from somebody like me who went and pushed too hard and my body pushed back and I was out of balance for a long time. And then finding Ayurveda helped me to understand myself, to bring myself back into balance. And this is why I'm so passionate about sharing these teachings. But I really feel a calling to share this information because I think these teachings are what we need right now in the world to start with bringing ourselves into balance. When we're in balance, when we're not worried about pains in our body or ailments or wasting energy on poor digestion or poor elimination, well, then we feel good. Nature is literally flowing to our body. Our body is running efficiently. We have lots of energy. And when we feel good, we're happier. We're better members of our society. We're better friends and partners and co-workers. There's more of a ripple effect of compassion and empathy for others. And we're a better member of our society. We're more in tune with our truth. And again, when we're not wasting energy on other ailments or problems in our body and mind, we can get to our true nature, find what our passion is, and go out and live our passion. And that's true happiness. Really, Ayurveda is about a journey to self-realization. Let's talk a little bit more about what makes Ayurveda so special. Well, first of all, it respects the uniqueness of the individual. I talked about understanding your true nature. Ayurveda believes that each person has a unique physical and mental constitution. Sometimes it's called dosha or prakriti in Sanskrit, but they're all basically the same thing. It's your blueprint, your individual blueprint that you receive at conception from your parents. It doesn't change. It's your blueprint. It may go in and out of balance throughout your life, but it never changes. So Ayurveda teaches us about what our individual blueprint is, and then we need to make choices in our life, in our food, exercise, career, lifestyle, mindfulness techniques, dependent on what our unique constitution is. So that has a huge bearing. This is where we start the journey, learning about your constitution, and then from there we can navigate our own life with confidence. Also, this uniqueness comes into play when you go to an Ayurvedic practitioner and they're healing you of whatever your ailments are, that your treatment will be specific to you. So everything in Ayurveda is uniquely tailored to you, and this is why I love it. There's no one healing system. There's no one exercise, food, diet, cleanse that's for everybody. It's very unique to each individual. Ayurveda, like I said, is holistic. It considers the mind, the body, and the soul. So it considers holistic health when healing a person, that not only do we need to look at your physical body, but we also need to look at your mind and the qualities of your mind, and also your soul. What are you passionate about? Are you living and surrounding yourself with the right people, the right experiences, etc. So we take into consideration everything in your life, your emotional, your behavioral, your mental, your physical, absolutely everything. We look at your work, your family life, your relationships. Ayurveda offers natural ways of treating diseases and promoting health. So it's all about prevention. I talked about earlier, catching those subtle signals before it manifests into something bigger. So when you understand your body, you'll know immediately when it's out of balance, and you'll have the education from the teachings of Ayurveda about how to bring it back into balance naturally, whether that's through food, herbs, spices, lifestyle. It's very, very simple techniques to bring your body back into balance, and so preventing illness or disease from manifesting in your body or your mind. It empowers everyone to take responsibility for their own health, and this is what we really need today, is that each person is responsible for their own health. What you put in your mouth, what you listen to, what you surround yourself with, what you see, all the experiences have an impact on your health. This is the only body you have to live in, and a famous quote by Jim Rohn. And this is your temple. You need to take care of it. What you eat becomes your cells and tissues. So if you're eating processed food or junk food or food that doesn't have a lot of prana, a lot of life force energy, well, then the end result, your cells and tissues and your skin, is going to reflect what you're eating. So we really need to take responsibility for that and understand that it not only affects us physically and what we look like, but also mentally. If you're eating food that has no prana, that's clogging up your body because your body can't digest it well. And in Ayurveda, we talk about it's not only you are what you eat, but you are what you digest. And Ayurveda understood 5,000 years ago that the key to your health is your digestive system. And now modern science is agreeing with Ayurveda that 70 to 80% of our immunity is housed in our digestive system, which goes, the GI tract, the gastrointestinal tract, which goes from our mouth to our anus. 80% of our immunity is there. So this is where we need to look at for the root causes of all disease. And so, like I said, it can affect us physically, but also mentally. So anxiety, depression, mind spinning, lots of these ailments will come from poor digestion as well. So digestion is key in Ayurveda, and we're definitely going to do more episodes on that because that's a whole episode or episodes in itself. And so the way to complete health or optimal health is for Ayurveda is to have simple realignment with the natural rhythms of nature and with your true nature also. Ayurveda is also cost effective. You're catching those subtle signals in the body at very early stages, so you can bring your body back into balance with food, with herbs and spices, with lifestyle adjustments. So it's very cost effective in that way. You're not having to go to doctors, you're not having to go to the ER or the hospitals, you're not having to get scans done, that you're catching it at the onset. And ideally, we want to understand our bodies so well that we're not getting out of balance, or we're understanding how to keep ourselves in balance as we go through transitions in life and seasons, etc. And I want to stay here about Western medicine obviously has its place. I think Ayurveda teaches us prevention and teaches us to understand our own health. And Western medicine is great for the technologies we have. So if it's a case where we didn't catch the subtle signals and it manifested into something a lot more serious and we need scans or MRIs or x-rays, etc., that's where our modern medicine comes into place, our wonderful technologies, the wonderful operations that can be performed. But what Ayurveda teaches us, and what I wanted to educate the audience on, is to catch the subtle signals early, to understand your body so well and to respect it, that you're looking at everything you're putting into it, everything you're surrounded with, and how it's affecting your health. So it's all about awareness. And awareness is the catalyst to change. Once you're aware of maybe what foods might bring you out of balance or what you're doing in your life that is causing imbalance, once someone tells you about that, then there's an awareness, then there's this sudden realization. Because sometimes it can be hard. If you don't know, you don't know, right? But then in Ayurveda they say that once you know, if you ignore it, it's a misuse of intellect. So it's basically saying you know better, okay? And that's really what it's all about. It's about educating each individual. But it helps you by understanding your body and requirements. You'll understand your unique physical and mental constitution, and it's unique to you, and its requirements. You'll know what's the best foods to eat, the best times to eat according to the circadian rhythms, the best time to work out, the best jobs for you due to the skill sets of your constitution, the best climate for you, the best, like I said, the lifestyle, the best exercise routine for you, the best yoga, meditation, breath work. It goes into all aspects of your life. It is the wisdom of life. It is that manual for life that most of us never received. I know I have spent many decades trying to figure myself out, but I really wish I got this information at a young age, because it would give me the confidence to make decisions for myself, to understand, my body, to understand my physical structure. There would be less comparing myself to others, wondering why I didn't have those skill sets, or the perfect skin, whatever it is. It would, as a young person, particularly when you're comparing yourselves to others and you're trying to figure out life and figure out yourself, I feel that with this knowledge there'd be less comparison, because we each understand that we're an individual. So I think this is very powerful for children to learn as well, and that will be another episode unto itself for parents to understand their children. You can also help you understand your mental tendencies and how to maintain balance. I talked a moment ago about how what you eat and what you do, your lifestyle, everything affects not only your physical body, but also your mental tendencies as well. So Ayurveda will teach you in your constitution what it feels like when you go out of balance mentally. So it'll help you understand, well, why do I get jealous, or why do I get mind spinning or anxious, or why do I want to retreat and not really be part of society, and why do I get so possessive? And they're just samples from each of the three dosha types of the mental aggravations for each of the dosha types. But it will help you understand what your tendencies are mentally when you go out of balance, and again, give you the tools to bring yourself back into balance naturally. It also helps you by helping you maintain optimal health and a healthy body weight. When you're eating the right food for you, your body is digesting it well, and you're eliminating efficiently, then you will not have a weight problem. Also, you'll know what foods are right for you, or what food, what, if you are a certain constitution who is prone to weight gain or obesity, you'll know what foods to eat in order to prevent that. And I know for me, that helped me a lot. I was definitely a rounder figure as a younger person, and as I study Ayurveda, I definitely understand what to eat, and I find that I don't have to worry about my weight these days, that it takes care of itself just by eating the right foods for me. It helps you establish an appropriate life regime. So like I said, it will Ayurveda suggests times to wake, times to sleep. We talk about the circadian rhythms, when to eat, the ideal times for you, for your particular constitution. So it will really help, it will give you guidelines to follow to keep yourself in balance, and to, again, be in tune with nature, because the energies change throughout the day. They're called the circadian rhythms. That'll be another whole episode down the road. I have lots of information to share with you. It will help you to improve your relationships personally, professionally, with your family, partners. And this is really true, and it's something that I found was a huge benefit from studying Ayurveda, because not only will you learn about your own true nature, what your individual constitution is, but you'll also learn the other constitutional types. So you'll learn about how each constitution is in the world, what their characteristics are, what their imbalances are, what their way of being is. So just by knowing that, you may get less irritated when somebody cancels last minute, or where maybe they're a little bit flaky, or they get nervous a lot, or again they don't want to be, they're not very motivated maybe, or maybe they're too competitive. You'll understand these characteristics as being a certain dosha, and so you're less likely to be upset by it, because you understand that's their way of being, or perhaps that they're out of balance at the moment, and that's why they're doing that. They're not doing it to upset me. It's not directed towards me. It's just that they're out of balance. So I think this is a great way of having more empathy and compassion for others just by this, with this simple knowledge. You'll understand also the signs of when you're out of balance. Again, I talked about that. Ayurveda will educate you on what are the signs when your particular dosha is out of balance, so that you can catch it straight away and bring it back into balance just by changing your foods or maybe your lifestyle, maybe bringing in more mindfulness techniques. And it also just adds life to your living. What I mean by that is when you are in balance, and I touched on this a moment ago, when you're in balance, you're eating well, you're digesting well, you're eliminating well, the nature is flowing through you, and that's a part of the teachings of Ayurveda. You want an uninterrupted flow of nature through you. We are nature, and you just want nature to flow through us. We're going to use the nutrients and the prana that we need. We'll be in balance. When we're in balance, we're not wasting energy on our ailments, on worried about our pains, our aches, our constipation, our diarrhea, our headaches, whatever it is. But we have more energy to put out there into the world. We have more awareness of those around us. We're happier. We have more awareness about what we want to do when we have space in our body, and when we are a space in the sense that we have more space mentally as well, that we're not suffering from mind spinning or depression, that this is when awareness can enter. This is when we get those intuitive moments, when our subtle signals, our subtle channels in our body are open and clear, when they're not clogged. That's when awareness can enter, and we can get to the truth of ourselves and to our truth and our passions and what we want to do, and live a life that's going to make us happy. And that's what we want. It's our birthright to be happy and healthy. We certainly don't want to have to struggle through life, but just by understanding Ayurveda, we can live a life that's less of a struggle, and that's more happiness and flow, in tune and intuitive, and living our truth. Doesn't that sound good? Okay, so I'm going to touch now on a little bit of the doshas, but in the next episode, I'm going to go into detail on the 3 doshas, the constitutional types. But let me just explain to you, we talked about how everything in the natural world, including ourselves, are made up of the 5 elements of nature. Those 5 elements are space, air, fire, water, and earth. So everything in the natural world, like fruit and veg and humans and animals and plants, are all made up of these 5 elements. In essence, the world is nothing but a play of the 5 elements of nature. Now, these 5 elements give rise to the 3 doshas, which are the 3 energies governing all functions in the body. Now, in modern medicine, in the West, it's focused on the structures and the organs, where Ayurveda is based on the energies behind the structures. The doshas, or constitutions types, are biological energies found throughout the human body and mind, and they govern all physical and mental processes and provide every living being with an individual blueprint. So, like I said, each person has an individual blueprint and a unique physical and mental constitution. So those 3 doshas are Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Now, Vata is made up of the energies of space and air. Pitta is made up of the energies of fire and water. And Kapha is made up of the energies of water and earth. So they are the 3 doshas. Now, you may have seen these dosha quizzes online, and they are a great start, a great stepping stone into the world of Ayurveda. However, and I just wrote a blog post on this, we are in danger of, in our modern world, where we're just taking snippets of information and we want everything just packaged real small because we don't really have a whole lot of time to digest huge amounts of information. But we are in danger of thinking about Ayurveda as just a dosha quiz, and it's not. You can see from my spiel for the last several minutes, it's so much more. It's a science of life. It's that ancient wisdom that we need now more today than ever. So while the dosha quizzes are great, don't get me wrong, they're excellent, but they're just a start. The quiz will help you get an idea. Will start you questioning and start bringing that awareness I talked about and give you an idea of what your dosha is. However, I highly recommend you go to an Ayurvedic expert and do a consultation. And this is money well invested, because you can do the consultation. And like I said earlier, in Ayurveda, it's all about giving you the wisdom and empowering you so that you don't have to keep coming back to the Ayurvedic practitioner. You can go out into the world with this information and live your life and know how to keep your body in balance. That's the ultimate goal for Ayurveda, is to educate the individual to take charge of their own health, take responsibility for their own health. So the 3 doshas, we're going to go into detail talking about those in the next episode. And now I have a little bit of homework if you wish to partake. We're going to do the in-depth talk about the 3 doshas next week. So I'd love for you to take my dosha quiz, which is, you'll find on my website. I have a free ebook, Intro to Ayurveda, which you'll find on my homepage. And I'll put the link in the notes here. And you go to the website, you can do that dosha quiz that's there in the ebook, and hold on to that information, and then the next episode you'll have your numbers, which is a great start. It's a general quiz, it's just very general to start with. Then I'll go into the descriptions, and then we'll take it from there. And then if you feel like you want to do a consult down the line to get more in-depth knowledge and to really flesh it out a bit more, then I highly recommend that. So for now, go to my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com. I'll put it in the show notes here. Download the free ebook on the homepage and do the dosha quiz so you have your numbers for our next episode. And this is where we're going to talk about each dosha, the characteristics of each dosha, the signs of aggravation, what causes the aggravation, and some simple tips about how we can bring those doshas back into balance naturally. So thank you for tuning in today, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. You can see that I'm really passionate about Ayurveda. I have a whole lot of information to share with you, and I'm always open and welcome reviews. You can go to iTunes and leave a rating, a review. If you have particular topics that you want me to cover, I'm more than happy for you to suggest topics. This podcast is for you, and it's all about getting that information out there. I really have the calling to empower people to take charge of their own health and to make things simplistic, and things don't have to be as challenging as they are with all this influx of information coming at us. I think it's time to go back to basics and really empower the individual. So thanks again for tuning in, and I look forward to connecting with you in the next episode. Okay, take care, everybody.